Welcome, welcome! It's my dog with the Texas Space Navy bringing you another Star Citizen video. This video is coming a little bit late to you. I've been real busy with work and whatnot, so obviously it's taken me a little longer to get this out. But I do want to thank everybody for tuning in, and make sure you hit that like button if you like this video, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed before and you want to see more of my content. If you hit that bell icon as well, it'll let you know when I release that content so you guys can be the first to see it. Now on with this video. So I thought I would just go and do another 890 jump mission solo, kind of see where things are in relation to early on in the patch on trying to do these. I did have somebody in one of my other previous videos say that these missions were impossible. I don't discredit what they were saying at all. It's not impossible, but it is much more difficult now because the AI is a little bit better. Now, if you can get on a fresh server when it's just, you and the AI is a lot better. Not just a little, but a lot. So it can definitely make an impact on how well you perform doing one of these missions. I even kind of have an issue in this mission, but I think it's still a little bit of a desync issue where I think I'm hitting the target and evidently not enough, something along those lines. Plus I was always running this a little willy-nilly, not really taking my time and being as safe as possible going through the mission. Unfortunately, that's a side effect of doing this mission a lot and having the backup of a Cuddy Red, knowing that if I did perish, I would be able to respawn. So those factors are definitely going into how loose I'm running one of these 890 jump missions. I wish I had a previous video of when I did get on a server that was pretty much me and the AI and how really good it was. So let's talk about that a little bit. I saw a couple other YouTube videos address this as well, and it was all speculation, and mine is no different. But the servers are so overloaded, especially when they get 50 people on them, that the AI can't keep up. The server can't keep up and I guess run the AI portion of combat. So what you get is you get a very watered down AI that's not really good. It's not super challenging. It's just one of those things that we're having to deal with right now because this game is so big. It's got so much into it, and one server just can't possibly run it all and keep up with 50 PC entities all over the Stanton system. It's just too much. And I've talked about this before, and I just don't know how many of you actually realize how much of the game we are missing out on right now. There is a lot of stuff that they have done behind the scenes, some of it in front of the scenes, that we just haven't been able to get our hands on or see in person for ourselves because the servers just can't handle the load. I can tell you back in, I think it was 3.8, thereabouts, that I did talk about this subject as well, on how when they kept adding something new or a new location, that they would have to turn off something in order for them to be able to have a system that could process the new location. So in other words, let's take the security forces pulling you over and scanning your ship. Now that's in now, but you don't see it very often. Originally, when that came in, it was a really cool little feature. Maybe it hit us a little too much, maybe not, but it was in the game. And then when the patch came out, we no longer had that feature. Well, they had to turn that off because the system couldn't handle that AI interaction and all the entities that were pulling players over or pulling them out of quantum or any of that. So they got rid of that feature for the moment, momentarily. Same thing with pirates pulling you out of quantum and attacking you. You don't see that very often anymore. And it's just because some things had to be, I guess you could say, turned off in order for us to see the other content. I mean, this last patch, They didn't bring in a tremendous amount of extra stuff to see, but they did try to optimize some of the things that we are seeing. So they did optimize how some of the AI works. They optimize how the servers are working. Just different things like that. It's still not enough. I mean, we're still not seeing everything this game has to offer and everything that they've worked on. And I, quite frankly, can't wait till we get that first server meshing instance, or icache may clear some of it up, but I really think server meshing is going to show us how much we've been missing out on this game. It's going to be impressive. And we've kind of gone back and forth on how that first instance of server meshing is going to look. Some people think it's going to be a load screen, like if you're going to Pyro, you're going to get a load screen, or if you're going to go to, maybe Hurston and Crusader are on one, I guess, shard, and then Microtech and Area 18 or ArcCorp or whatever are on another shard, and you'll get a load screen. Of course, I know Chris Roberts doesn't want any load screens, so I don't think that's going to be the case. Instead, what I think we're going to see is we'll get a shard per planetary system. So you'll get one server for Hurston, one server for ArcCorp, one server for Microtech, one server for Crusader, and they will pretty much, those servers will handle everything in that vicinity. And then, of course, when Pyro comes online, we'll kind of get a similar thing there. But the servers will be able to talk together. The first instance that they have to do is get one server to be able to talk to another server. That's the biggest thing that, the hurdle that they're facing, and to be able to keep up with entities on both. So it's really kind of interesting that I'm actually bringing this topic up at all, because Chris Roberts answered a question from somebody in the community, and he kind of, it kind of pertains to server meshing in a little bit, and kind of icache in a little bit. So they talked about Quanta. So if any of you guys remember from last CitizenCon, Tony Zervik, who's like the mastermind behind the multiplayer persistent universe, he gave a presentation on something called Quanta. Quanta is going to be, I guess how you could say, supply and demand across the galaxy, if you want to call it that. So the way it's going to work is, let's say a player finds a ore vein on, I don't know, on Yella, okay? And he starts mining this ore vein, and he gets, a couple of his buddies to start mining it. And he goes to sell this ore vein, or this vein of ore, at, let's say, Hurston L1, because they're really good at refining ore or whatever. So he takes it there and has it refined, and then somebody takes it from Hurston, L1 to Microtech, because that ore is used in producing microprocessors and whatnot. So that's taken there, and then a factory on Microtech produces it, and then they sell the motherboards, processors, whatever it is that they made from it. So the way it's going to work is, once that ore vein was discovered, then NPCs are also going to be flocking to that area to try to mine those areas, and they're going to also be needing to refine their ore and sell the refined ore, etc. So what it's going to do is it'll bring the overall value of that ore down, as well as the refined part of it. And whenever Microtech produces the goods, at first it'll be pretty heavy priced because they're the only ones that can do it, but then there's going to be an abundance of supply, so the price will go down because the demand won't be as high. There's going to be plenty of supply, so it's going to kind of shape the entire economy. So that's something to keep in mind. And with server meshing and icache, the way that's going to work is you're going to see this Quanta play out on a master server, a server that handles all that kind of data by itself. I shouldn't say by itself, because it's going to share that data amongst all the other servers. So you'll see an influx of people coming into that system to get that ore so they can make money, etc. Eventually, maybe that ore is going to be needed in the pyro system. So you'll take it to the pyro system and make a big, profit off of it. And other people will see that there's a profit being made there, and they'll start going that direction, and so on and so forth, and it'll drive the price down a little bit. So that's how you can kind of expect Quanta to play out. That's a very simplistic version of it. You should really, really check out Turney Zervik's video from Star Citizen, and he goes over it really well. They have a visual presentation of it. It's really, really good. Most of Turney Zervik's videos are really good. Now, some of them can be kind of dry and a little, I guess you could say, some people might find them boring, but most of his videos are excellent. He's really the mastermind behind how the PU is going to work and all the little systems that they have to get in play for it to work the way they want it to work. So again, it kind of goes hand in hand with server meshing and iCache, the Quanta system, and how all that's going to work. So in 3.11, we're going to get cargo decks. Now, from what I hear, the cargo decks are kind of pointless. They don't really have a purpose at the moment. You can't get missions from there like you're supposed to. It's not really serving much of a purpose other than a place to go look. Which kind of brings you to the idea of what is 3.11 really all about. I mean, what all is going to be in it? I think there's still content in there, but I think we're going to run through that content and quite possibly get bored. Now, I did hear that the constellation Taurus is being tested on 3.11, so that's great news for you Connie Taurus fans. You might finally be getting your ship, although it's really unannounced. It's not something that they're advertising right now, but it's going to be one of those worst kept secret type things when they release it in 3.11. So definitely good news that they've actually been working on it. I'm all for that. Other news, 3.11, I mean, we're looking at the 100 series coming out. I also think that with the digital CitizenCon that's supposed to happen during this time, that we'll probably get a starter refinery ship, like a tier 1 refinery ship, that you can go out and I guess collect ore that your buddy's mining and refine it on site, and then go drop it off at a refinery deck. They may save that ship for 3.12 when they have the refineries decks coming in. That's my better bet on that one. There's also rumors that the Xi'an cargo ship will also be making an appearance in 3.11 or 3.12. So those are two ships to kind of keep on the radar or keep in the back of your mind. There's nothing confirmed on either one of those. It just makes sense that with the refinery deck and refinery gameplay coming in, that we'll see that refinery ship before long. And I would guess either in 3.12 or in 4.0 if it ever comes out. But yeah, that's my guess. Again, they're adding all these extra little things, but if you really take a look at the last couple of big patches, 3.10 and 3.11, and even 3.12, you don't see a lot of new locations. They're adding on to existing locations, but they're not creating new locations for us to go to or go to explore. 3.12 has the possibility of bringing in part of the pyro system, but are they really going to do it? We don't know. They haven't announced whether they're going to try to get that into 3.12 or not, or they're going to make us wait till 4.0. I think they're waiting until server meshing. I really think that they're pushing hard on iCache and server meshing before they put any more locations in, so we get the gameplay that they want to bring us, the gameplay that makes sense. I don't know how else to say it. They want us to see all the fun stuff that they've been putting into the game, but they can't show us because the servers can't handle it. Something along those lines. So, yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Hoping we see, the Odin is possibly a ship that we'll see before Christmas as well. If you don't know, I did a video on the Odin before, and it's a possible capital size ship that has massive guns on each side of it, and it'll do broadside shots. Now you can see here in the video that I had made a stupid mistake and got a little carried away or a little over exuberant, and it cost me to die when normally I wouldn't just be doing it that way. I'd play a little bit more conservative, I guess. But you know, you gotta have fun with it. Run and gun. You know, I've done this mission so many times that I don't mind being a little risky doing it, just because, like I said, it adds a little bit of flavor to it, a little bit more pizzazz, a little more excitement. So that's why I was running and gunning in that particular instance. Now, if I'm going to do a how-to video, I think I will go much slower when I'm taking on the bad guys. Of course, you're going to have to go with some kind of pace or urgency if you want to just take down the hacking terminal. Sorry, I digress, but yes. So I'm kind of running and gunning, and that's why you saw me die there. It doesn't happen every time, but you know, again, it's this mission to make it more fun. I've got to do that. Now, the guy who created this mission and the Price of Freedom mission, sorry, I'm going all over the place on multiple tangents. He actually is no longer working for CIG. He has his own Twitch channel. If you guys know who he is, you can go check that out. I don't know if he wants me sending you guys there or not, but definitely check him out if you know who he is. I wanted to interview him back when he was with CIG, and unfortunately, you know, he was under NDA, and he couldn't just interview with one person. He'd have to interview with everybody, and it made perfect sense. So hopefully, maybe I can reach out to him and we can kind of get an interview a little bit. Not, you know, we don't want to disclose anything he's not supposed to, but it might be cool to kind of get his thoughts, you know, on his time at CIG and some of the things that he worked on that are already in the game. Maybe he could share that with us. So maybe I'll reach out to him before long and do that. One of the cool things there, you saw how the Electron sniper rifle just jumped, the arc just jumped from one guy to another. I don't think it really did any damage. And then I land on my head. That really didn't do any damage either. So a couple things that should have done damage but didn't. But yeah, really, you know, there's a lot of things I'm looking forward to still in this game. I hope you guys are too. Put in the comments what you're looking forward to down below. I know there's a lot of frustration. Don't be frustrated. It's coming. It's coming, guys. Anyways, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I really do appreciate all you guys. Thank you to all my Patreon and YouTube members. If you want to join either one of those prestigious clubs, you can do that in the description down below in this video. I'll appreciate it, I promise. I'm Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy, and I'll see you guys out in the verse.